Hi, welcome back to a Kenny Veach M-Cave mystery discussion video. Apologies if there is background sound out there, it's still ongoing to this day. We're like 4 or 5 months on, those builders are really dragging things out. Incompetent. So I didn't want to do like a proper full-on video today because it would be ruined, with the audio. So the question today is the Kenny Veach M-Cave mystery a true rabbit hole? Now, a fair few people will know that term, rabbit hole. For other people that don't, I'll give a brief description of it, okay, a rough one. In a visual sense, it's basically where you come across a mystery, a case, and there might be 2 entrances. You go down one, and then now you're met with 4 different routes. You go down another, and then now you're met with 8 different pathways, and so on and so on. It's the idea that you look at one theory, idea, concept, and then it seems to branch off to sub-theories and sub-mysteries, and it just keeps on going and going to the point where it might get a bit overwhelming, confusing. You might get so deep and fixed and focused on just one thing that it gets to the point where you get to that dead end, you look back and you're thinking, how do I get out of this situation? Where are we at now? Some people just completely walk away from a mystery because of that, and then other people don't know what to think. Does that apply in this case with Kenny Veach and M-Cave? Yes and no. The reason why I say that is it might be confusing, it might be a rabbit hole for a fair few people, but it's not for me. Reason why? Well, partially because I've made over 230 videos on the case, covering as many angles, perspectives, counterpoints, theories, counter-theories, ideas, concepts, the lot, without getting too confused, without going too deep and too all in on one idea. And I always refer back to the keyhole. Whether it was something or not, exciting, mysterious, or simplistic, I didn't get too all in on it, because if I did, everything else becomes like, well, not invalid, but it's like thrown aside, and you need to try and keep it all together in a way to create a bit of balance, because if you don't, and you go too all in on one idea, concept, it's that process of a rabbit hole. You get deeper and deeper, trying to prove it or trying to look at other things that are going on in that zone, that area, whether it is or isn't, to the point where it's like, oh, and if it turns out to be a dead end, it's like, well, that was a waste of time. If it turns out to be a bit of a dead end, it might just lead to an unsolved mystery, an unnecessary mystery, adding more to the overall mystery, more clutter, confusion. You don't want that. Now, there will be some people that, the way they like to act, will say, yes, but Andrew, you did multiple videos. You did 3 to 4 of them, so that's very naughty of you. Naughty boy, Andrew. Yes, but difference is, there's 3 or 4 videos was a start point, a midpoint, and an end point to that little mystery. The start point was identifying something. The midpoint was trying to clarify, clear it up, see it from a different perspective, visual edits. And then the end point was finally solving it, which is necessary in a mystery, and most necessary within a mystery as a sub-mystery. So that's why there was coverage on that. And, there's been attempts made with the CCTV footage as well, because it's necessary there. If there is further evidence down the line or something more hard-hitting or whatever, it can be added on. Might be able to fully clear that up eventually. So that's what I mean. So like the way I go about it, or the way I try to, is cover a range of stuff without going too deep in just one thing. So more can be covered in a reasonable amount of time, and then provide updates along the way. So without going all in on one thing immediately, all the time, it's like returning back to certain things. So when you return back to certain things, you can give updates. You don't get too confused. It's like categorizing things, putting things in slots. And then if there's more material or something, you can just dump it in and return back because it's already structured in a way. And, you know, this even applies in a way, and it's more of an external thing with YouTube. You know, when I go on my videos, my library of videos I've uploaded, the studio mode, there's a search bar and you can type in a keyword and it'll come up with a video or any video what uses that keyword in the title. And that can be very useful, especially when returning back to sub mysteries. You know, like with the mineshaft and the ladder, when that was eventually resolved, it was like, okay, well, let's return back to the previous videos just to use a bit of footage from it or the odd screenshots, and then I can do the compare and contrast. I went into the YouTube studio mode, I typed in mineshaft or damage to mineshaft, and it came up with 3-4 videos of previous ones I've done, accessed them, got what I needed to get, and then implemented it in my newer video. So even an external tool like YouTube Studio is very helpful and useful. But, you know, understandably, it ties back to the yes and no situation where for me, it's not too much of a rabbit hole, but for others, it may well be, because for others, they don't have access to the studio mode to access my videos, obviously, because they're not using my account. If they made their own videos, they'd be able to do it themselves on their stuff. But yeah, I can kind of understand as a viewer, you know, you go into it and you're thinking, oh, what's going on here? But, you know, realistically, I am a viewer as well when it comes to watching other people's videos from time to time, whether it be this mystery or just other stuff. But more of it, in this case, with the Kenny Veach one, you know, as I said, I started looking into it 2015, late 2015, 2016, and I only started making videos, or attempting to, out of nowhere, the start of 2020 or so. So within that time frame from about 2015 to 2020, you know, fair bit of time, I wasn't constantly looking at the mystery. I was only looking at the stuff that was available at the time. So looking at the odd video by Sean Horlacher, as one of his original hikes, and then returning back in 2019 and looking at his 2016 hikes. So there was a bit of a delay. Looked at DJ Cook's video, maybe a few other YouTubers as well. And I didn't really take it in too much. And it didn't feel like, you know, a rabbit hole even then. Even when I wasn't prepared, when I didn't have all the perspectives, didn't have all the categorizations and everything like that. So even when I didn't have access to certain stuff, I wasn't confused. Might just be me in this case. It might be different another time. But it might also tie in with the idea of, because there's limited material at the time, if there's limited material, you can't go too deep, right? I know, technically speaking, with one's imagination and mind, you could keep on going deeper and deeper, and then that creates that rabbit hole idea, because you're thinking of one theory to another, wacky ones, interlinking ones, etc. But there's not really any evidence or material to tie with it. So that's probably why I didn't go down that route. Whereas like a time like now, where you've got much more newer hike footage and previous ones, screenshots, comments online, research by Atari, you look at it all, pick bits out, then yeah, you can go on a path of multiple different ideas and concepts, because now you've got material to work with and tie it in with another. But maybe whilst you've got that material and evidence, it kind of helps loosen that rabbit hole, because you've got a little bit of foundation to fall back on now. Whereas in the past, when you're just dealing with random thoughts and that's all, yes, you can get confused, whether it be, you know, own internal arguments with inside or discussing it with somebody else. It can get messy, but if you can bring up a point or bring up a video and say, well, I thought of this idea because of that, because of this, it's a bit of groundwork or so can help. So you can leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Is the Kenny Veach case, M-Cave mystery, a rabbit hole? Are both mysteries, the disappearance and the cave, a rabbit hole, or is one more than the other? feel free to let me know down below. And yeah, I think that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.